The Bible. It's a collection of ancient texts, prophecies, poetry, history, and letters. It holds stories of kings, shepherds, wars, and miracles. But for many, the Bible remains an unopened mystery. Here at The Bible Explained, we're not just reading verses, we're exploring the cultural bedrock and the dramatic narrative woven through its 66 books. Hit that subscribe button and let the journey begin.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving deep into one of the most consequential stories of sibling rivalry ever recorded, Jacob and Esau.
And it's so much more than just a family squabble, isn't it? It's really this high-stakes saga about ambition and deception and this really painful journey toward destiny.
Exactly. So our mission in this deep dive is to follow Jacob's journey. From the moment he gets his brother to sell his future for a bowl of soup.
All the way through stealing that blessing from his father.
Yeah.
And then that whole 20-year exile, which, turns out to be this necessary suffering that leads to this incredible transformation.
And it all ends with a reconciliation you just don't see coming. But I think right up front, we have to establish the main tension here.
We do. The whole narrative really hinges on the difference between, let's say, the material inheritance and the spiritual covenant. It's what defines both of them.
And this tension was there from the very beginning. Literally before they were even born.
Right. Their mother, Rebecca, gets this divine oracle that basically lays out the whole conflict. Two nations are in her womb, and the older, that's Esau, will serve the younger, Jacob.
So it's preordained. Jacob is the chosen one.
He is. But the problem, and what the sources spend so much time on, is how the family completely fails to trust that process. They try to force it.
Which brings us to the family dynamics. They're just a picture of extreme contrasts.
Well, polar opposites. You have Esau, the firstborn. He's this rugged, skillful hunter, the outdoorsman. His name even means hairy.
And he's Isaac's favorite.
Totally Isaac's favorite. Mostly because Isaac loved the wild game he brought home. He's also called Edom, which means red, foreshadowing the whole stew incident.
And then you have Jacob, the quiet one.
Yeah, he's described as a mild man dwelling in tents. It suggests someone more, domestic, maybe more intellectual. And he was Rebecca's favorite.
So the problem isn't just that they're rivals, it's the blatant parental bias.
That's the poison in the family system. Isaac is ready to ignore a divine oracle because he prefers Esau's cooking. And Rebecca, she knows the oracle, but she tries to make it happen through her own manipulation.
It's a toxic environment, and the prize they're all fighting over is the Bechorah, the birthright. And we really can't overstate how valuable this was.
No, it was everything. The Bechorah had 3 layers. First, materially, you get a double portion of the property, a huge economic leg up.
So it's money.
It's money, but it's also power. You become the head of the family, responsible for everyone. But the real value, the ultimate value, was spiritual. You become the next link in the Abrahamic covenant.
That's the context for the infamous soup transaction. Jacob is making this simple red lentil stew.
And Esau comes in from the field, supposedly starving, on the brink of death.
And Jacob just sees his opportunity. He pounces.
He does. He doesn't just give him the food. He sets a condition. He makes Esau swear an oath to sell the birthright first.
The big question is always, was he really about to die? Or was this just impatience?
Well, his response says it all, doesn't it? He says, "What good is the birthright to me?" He completely dismisses this eternal spiritual legacy for an immediate physical need.
The sources basically call it godlessness, just a total indifference to his destiny.
It shows he never valued the spiritual part of it to begin with, which ties into that linguistic connection you found.
Right. The Hebrew words for birthright, Bechorah, and for blessing, Baraka, they're almost anagrams.
They're 2 sides of the same coin. The birthright is the right to the blessing, and the blessing is the activation of that spiritual power. Esau just tosses the right away for a meal.
Which sets up Jacob's much, much bigger crime, stealing the activation, the blessing itself.
And this is where it really escalates. Isaac is old, he's blind, and he wants to give the final binding blessing to Esau. But he's relying entirely on his other senses.
Taste, touch, and smell.
Exactly. The taste of the game, the feel of Esau's hairy arms, the smell of his clothes.
It seems like a spiritual blindness to match the physical blindness. He knows the oracle, but he's just going with his favorite son anyway.
He's trusting his own preference over the divine word. And that's the opening Rebecca needs. She orchestrates this whole scheme.
It's so meticulous.
Oh, it's an elaborate deception. Jacob has to wear Esau's clothes for the scent. His smooth hands and neck are covered with goat skins to feel hairy.
And then he has to just lie outright to his blind father's face, "I am Esau, your firstborn."
And Jacob is terrified. He knows he's risking a curse if he's found out. But he does it anyway. It shows his own lack of faith, too. He can't just wait for God's timing.
So when the whole thing is exposed, when Esau comes back, the text says, Isaac trembled violently.
That phrase just conveys the sheer horror of it, the realization that he almost thwarted destiny. But the blessing is irrevocable. He can't take it back.
And the consequences for Jacob are immediate. Esau is vowing to kill him and he has to flee. He runs straight into a 20-year exile with his uncle, Laban.
And this is where you see this perfect, almost cosmic irony play out, this measure for measure justice.
Because Jacob the deceiver spends the next 2 decades being constantly deceived.
Constantly. He works 7 years for Rachel, the woman he loves, only to get tricked into marrying her older sister Leah.
And Laban's excuse is just devastatingly ironic.
It's unbelievable. He says, "It is not done in our place to place the younger before the elder." It's the exact principle Jacob violated.
The rule he broke becomes the ruler he's beaten with. It's incredible.
And it wasn't just the one time. Laban changes his wages 10 times. Jacob is cheated and manipulated by a man whose cunning is every bit as sharp as his own.
So those 20 years, they're a crucible. They're meant to burn away that identity as the schemer.
Absolutely. He has to feel what it's like to be on the receiving end of that kind of betrayal before he can become the patriarch he's meant to be.
So after 2 decades, he's wealthy, he has a huge family, and he flees Laban to finally go home. But he's terrified.
He is. He sends messengers to Esau, and the news that comes back is his worst nightmare. Esau is coming to meet him with 400 armed men.
And his first response is classic Jacob. He reverts to type.
Right back to his old habits. He prays, but then he immediately starts calculating. He divides his family into 2 camps as a safety measure.
Damage control.
Pure damage control. And he sends this massive parade of gifts ahead to try and buy Esau's forgiveness. He's still trying to manipulate his way out of a real confrontation.
But then, after he sends everyone and everything away across the river Jabbok, he finds himself completely alone.
And that's the moment. In that isolation, the text says, "A man wrestled with him until the break of dawn."
Not a quick fight. This is an all-night marathon.
8, maybe 12 hours of just unrelenting struggle. And the identity of this man is one of the great mysteries.
The text calls him a man. Hosea later says an angel, but Jacob himself is convinced it's something more.
He names the place Peniel, which means face of God, because he says, "I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved." This was the direct, honest encounter with the divine that he'd been avoiding his whole life.
And it leaves him with a permanent physical injury.
It does. When the man sees he can't overpower Jacob, he touches his hip, dislocating it. The limp he walks away with is the symbol of his transformation. It's a permanent reminder that he can't rely on his own strength or cleverness anymore.
He holds on, though. He won't let go until he gets a blessing.
And his persistence pays off. He gets a new name, Israel. He who struggles with God. That's the 100% transformation from Jacob, the heel grabber, the deceiver, to Israel, the patriarch.
And that injury is still remembered today, isn't it?
It is. The Jewish dietary tradition of not eating the sciatic nerve, the Gid Hanasha, comes directly from this moment. It preserves the memory of that injury.
So now, this new man, Israel, humbled and limping, has to face the brother he's been running from for 20 years. We're all braced for a battle.
A total showdown.
And that is not at all what happens.
Not even close. It's a moment of radical grace. Jacob approaches bowing 7 times, his complete humility. And Esau, he runs. He throws his arms around Jacob's neck, and they both just weep.
That forgiveness is just, it's staggering. Do the sources connect this to his divine encounter? Like, did Jacob's transformation somehow enable Esau's forgiveness?
They imply a very strong connection. And when Esau is hesitant to accept all the gifts, Jacob insists, and he says something amazing. He says, "To see your face is like seeing the face of God."
The Bible isn't just a history book. It's a living, challenging text. As you reflect on what we covered today regarding this topic, consider how this new context changes your reading of the verses. If you appreciated this breakdown, sharing it with just one friend who struggles with understanding the Bible is the best way you can support the channel. Subscribe for more, click here for your next explanation, and never stop seeking clarity. Until next time.